Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? This is your Coach Renz, and today we're going to talk about voting and slavery. Yes, and the Jim Crow laws. Why are we having this discussion? We're having this discussion because earlier today I was with my mom, and she's 70 years old. She just celebrated her birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. And she said, they say that if Trump become president, we're going to go back to slavery, or we're going to go back to the Jim Crow laws, and those will be instituted all over America, right? So I looked at it and I said, Mom, okay, let's break this down. And I want to break this down for you guys. But I'm going to say this, and some of you may be offended, but if you are, then you should turn this video off right now, because really, I don't care if you're offended or not. But here's the deal. Let's start. We're going to do it in two parts. The first part. All right, so slavery. Slavery was abolished by the Constitution. We have a Constitution amendment that abolished slavery, right? All men are free. Now, also, the documents that were written that established this country, the Declaration of Independence, as well as the Constitution, they all have things, and yes, I know, before you say it, those were written during a time of slavery, and they did not mean all men. They only meant land-owning white Anglo-Saxon males. This is true. But in today's world, the Constitution stands for every human being. The psychology of today, the sociology of today would say that all men are created equal, that all men have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That slavery in all forms have been abolished in this country based on the Constitution. So in order for that to happen, in order for slavery, in order for a person like Donald Trump to institute slavery in America, he would have to be able to have the power to change the Constitution. Now let's start there again. Does the president have the power to change the Constitution? No, they do not. So for all of you who think that a president has that much power, you need to go back to civics. The president has executive power, meaning that he can veto laws that are sent to him by Congress, or he can do presidential orders, but none of those presidential orders can override what's written in the Constitution. So therefore, the president cannot institute slavery with any kind of order whatsoever. And if a president tried to use the military to institute slavery, then as a military person, you have the right to defend all enemies, foreign and domestic. So the overwhelming majority of the military will not enslave America, and especially picking out just one group of people, which is asinine. So the president doesn't have the power to do it. In order to change an amendment to override something in the Constitution, the Congress will have to be the one to institute that law, that amendment. And then that amendment will have to be ratified by 2/3 of the states in America. And if you honestly believe that 2/3 of all the states in America would ratify slavery, then your mind is so caught up into the hype and bullcrap that these people have been feeding you that you don't think for yourself. All right, and then the Supreme Court would then have to sit there and not read this and say that this is unconstitutional. So the ability to change an amendment, to add an amendment to enslave people based in this country is near impossible now. It goes against the Constitution completely, and no president has that much power. I'm really thinking that people who believe this don't understand the powers that the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch have. This is why it's so hard to get anything done in this country, because you have these checks and balances in place just to make sure that nobody can do something as dastardly as that. Now, yeah, I know you had like things in Germany where, the Hitler came up and he was able to do what he did, but understand that was a fascist regime. That was a country that had just got devastated by World War I. They were in severe and abject poverty, a worldwide depression was going on. So that situation is completely different. But let's go with version 2. Let's just say by some major miracle, and I'm telling you, it would have to be a major miracle, that the Congress go into an amendment and they say, hey, we're gonna take them into slavery, or they try to say that, oh, we're gonna repeal the right to vote, which is in the Constitution, and the Voting Rights Act is really just a political football now used to get you to get all scared and everything, because you can't, if some, with social media alone, if people tried to have a jar and say, oh, if you're black, you got to know how many marbles are in here in order for you to vote. If somebody tried to do that, the amount of hell and discontent, the amount of media coverage, the amount of I'm listen to the word, but the amount of spotlight that would hit this person, hit this county or whatever, would be tremendous. Yes, there are ways to cheat, there are ways to mess with the machines, but to stop you from voting, and like I saw on a meme the other day, you know, you have to have a license in order to drive, to get insurance, to buy a gun, to go to a bunch of different places, to do a bunch of different things. So yeah, you should be able to show ID to go vote as well. It's not racist, because then you have to say to go buy a gun is racist, that you got to show ID, or to, you know, go into a club and show ID, that's racist. So that's bull. But anyhow, back to the subject at hand. The number two thing is that if by some major miracle, that this was able to happen. Let's look at the population. Over 13% of the population is African American. So you're saying that you're going to try to enslave this population, which in a population of 400 million people, you're looking at a heck of a lot of people that you're going to enslave. I mean, I'm talking millions and millions and millions of people that you're now going to roll up and say, hey, you're working for Mr. Tom now. That's not going to happen. Then you look at our military and police structure. Our military and police structure is filled with a lot of African Americans, not the overwhelming majority. But in cities like Atlanta, yeah, it is the majority. But we got guns. And in order to make that happen, that means that a major race war would ignite, right? And a major race war, like, true, we are outnumbered. True, we will be outgunned. But a whole lot of white people gonna die in the process, right? Now, you think that America's gonna be able to suffer that? But let's look at it geopolitically, though. Do you think the world would allow for that to happen? And I don't mean that the world would side with the black people and that sort of thing. No, what I mean is that the world would take advantage. You don't think China would see this as an opportunity to come in and take Alaska and take some other parts of the Western America? You don't think that Mexico would see this as an opportunity to swoop in and take back New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas? You don't think that other countries, friend or foe, would see this as an opportunity to come in and take and break up America, because America will be in such turmoil? Do you know how much turmoil America will be in? And then this would throw off the world economy. So other billionaires around the world will be pissed because now their money is being messed with. So you don't think that the money and the people and the other countries who see this as an opportunity wouldn't step in and just eradicate or just take over lands and populations? You don't think that'll happen? That is another reason why it will never happen. Just on that point, man. And then I, as a former United States Marine, active duty Marine, do you think that I'm not going to sit up here and I'm going to sit up here and you're going to just roll up on me and say, hey, you're going to work for Mr. Green now? Hell to the no. It's not going to happen. What you're going to see is a whole bunch of dead people. That's what you're going to see when that happens. All right, because that Second Amendment right to bear arms is all up in my world. So I'm just telling y'all, this is just something they use to scare you. I don't care who you vote for, Republican or Democrat, but stop buying into the bull.